Dawn of the Beast is the second Bigfoot movie directed by Bruce Wemple, the first being Monstrous. Dawn of the Beast was also written by and stars Anna Shields, who played the lead role in Monstrous, so I guess it's safe to say that this duo likes their Bigfoot movies. Monstrous was just okay and focused more on the human characters than Bigfoot. Did they learn their lesson with Dawn of the Beast? Let's find out. It opens up telling us that in northeastern United States, the list of missing people increases from September 4th to October 2nd. The locals call this time the Dead Month, which isn't true at all. So right off the bat, they're lying to us. Then we meet Everett and Marie. They found some cool looking emerald necklace and are wondering how much they can get for it. Everett goes out for a smoke and he sees something in the woods. He tells Marie he's going to take a look and that she should stay in the house, but apparently she doesn't hear him because she heads right out. Everett's out looking for it and he comes face to face with the big guy. He runs back, tells Marie they need to go, but she says it found me and that it's inside her. Then she's pulled off into the woods. So obviously we're dealing with two different creatures here. 10 years later, we meet Chris, Lily, Jake, Isabella, Oz, and Dr. Cashton. They're all on this school field trip. What's the class? You guessed it, cryptozoology. Seriously, why wasn't I offered this class in college? Chris and Isabel are dating, and the rest of them are just there for an easy A. They stop at the local general store for some supplies and to get a warning from the store owner. You know, every horror movie needs a creepy general store owner.
If it knows you're there, they'll be coming for you.
Well, eventually they make it to the cabin, and they go for a little hike. Chris stays behind to bird watch. Jake, Isabella, and Oz go off trail, and Lily finds a hunter who is clearly hunting Bigfoot. It's not much of a surprise here. This is Everett, and he's trying to get revenge because he thinks the beast took his girlfriend. And speaking of his girlfriend, they find her body, just hanging out in a field. Instead of calling the cops, Oz doesn't want this to ruin their weekend, so he convinces everyone to leave it alone and they'll report it when the trip is over. Isabel notices that nice emerald necklace and decides to take it for herself. Back at the cabin, they all BS about the day, but Bella needs to get some work done and there's no cell signal. Also, it's the professor's anniversary, so he should probably at least call his wife. So the two of them drive to get reception. But Bella sees something in the road, and then it's gone. Is she seeing things? Then she sees it in the car. She freaks out, crashes, and when she comes to, her professor is knocked out cold. What just happened? Well, no time to think about it because something reaches in and grabs her teacher. Isabella runs into the road, levitates, then her neck breaks. What? Okay, I'm just gonna tell you what happened here. Bella took that green emerald off the dead body, which shows she's greedy, and in general, just not a very nice person. In this movie, that's enough to get you possessed by the Wendigo. That's right, this movie's true villain is a Wendigo. Back at the cabin, they're having their own problems. Lily's going to take a shower and she gets a visitor, Everett, who snuck in through the window. That's not creepy at all. He kidnaps her and, well, it's not looking too good for her. Meanwhile, Chris goes outside to take a leak and he gets some rocks thrown at him. He hears footsteps, then sees Sasquatch. He kind of roughs him up a little bit, but doesn't kill him. It seems like the creature just wants them to get out of there. So, is he the good guy? The next morning, Jake wakes up to find Bella. She looks pretty bad, but at the same time, pretty good for having her neck broken. All she can say is there was a wreck, her professor is dead, and she's really hungry. Uh-oh. Back to Lily, who's still alive, and it seems like Everett's intentions aren't what you were thinking. Instead, he wants to use her as bait to lure Bigfoot out and get his revenge. But now, I'm starting to think it wasn't the big guy who took his girlfriend in the first place, but the Wendigo. He ties her up to a tree and waits. But he doesn't have to wait long, because something shows up. What that something is, I'm still not 100% sure. I think these are people who are turning into a Wendigo. Either that or they're the creature's lackeys, but either way, they attack and kill him. Lily is able to escape and hides from whatever these things are. Back to Isabella and the guys at the cabin. They're not having a good time. She looks worse and worse, and she's so hungry, she just has to eat Oz. A ton of monsters are there, and Jake and Chris have to fight them off. Lily shows up and saves Chris. Jake isn't so lucky. Just 2 left now, and no way to get out of there. But wait, Everett's truck! They could use that to get back into town. They just need the keys, which are on his dead body. They run back into the woods and get the keys, but they're too late. The Wendigo creatures followed them, and they're hungry. Chris and Lily hide behind a tree and come up with a plan, which is basically just hit them over the head with a shovel. But it took too long and they're attacked. They can't put up much of a fight, and Lily gets her arm ripped off.
'Tis but a scratch.
No, it's not a scratch. She's not gonna make it. Just then, something scares these creatures and they stop their attack. What could this be? What do these things have to fear? That's right, Bigfoot, and he comes to lend Chris a hand. And he does not disappoint. This scene right here is the only reason to watch this movie. Bigfoot kills the monsters one by one. Some he stabs with sticks, others he just throws into the trees. He's unstoppable, and the creatures can't even land a single blow. Finally, all that's left is the Wendigo, the leader of them all, and the unspeakable pure evil of the woods. Just as they're about to fight, it cuts away. What? Don't do that! I wanted to see them brawl. Imagine what that could have looked like. They would have been eye to eye, as both creatures are huge. Sure, Bigfoot's all muscle, but a Wendigo's got a ton of fight in it. It's got antlers. I'm sure it could use those for something. What a disappointment. Well, anyway, it cuts to the next morning. Chris is at the truck, and he goes to get it started, but Isabella jumps on the hood. Yeah, you forgot about her, huh? Well, Chris thinks back to how she was a pretty crappy girlfriend and always treated him like garbage. And, well, I mean, she is trying to eat him right now, so you better light her on fire, then run over her for good measure. But now you caught the truck on fire. I guess Chris is just gonna have to walk. But then Everett comes back. Obviously he's infected by the spirit of the Wendigo, but he was pretty dead before. I guess this creature can bring you back to life now too. He explains how he comes back to these woods every year to try to get revenge on blah blah blah. Yeah, we know. And Chris doesn't want to hear it either. So he chops his head off with a shovel. Chris starts hoofing it down the road and eventually gets picked up by the local store owner, who seems to know exactly what he's just been through. And that's Dawn of the Beast. Overall, I'd say it was pretty good. It had its flaws, no doubt. But first, I just have to mention that the poster looks like it was straight up copied from Hunting Grounds. There's no way that's a coincidence. But for a second attempt at a Bigfoot movie, Dawn of the Beast is still better than Monstrous. Although, I have to wonder if they just wrote the movie so that they could reuse the Bigfoot costume. Which, I mean, I don't blame them. The use of practical effects are great, and there's enough gore for any horror movie fan. The battle with Bigfoot was the highlight of the movie, even if he didn't fight the Wendigo. Only problem is, it's kind of as basic as it gets. They threw in two great monsters, and in the end, it was still just kids going through the woods. They get attacked, fight their way out, and there's only one survivor, just like every other horror movie. The Wendigo's backstory is pretty interesting, and they didn't even touch on that at all. They just had everyone say how hungry they were all the time. Some good ideas, just not seen all the way through. Maybe that was budget. I don't know. In the end, I still recommend Dawn of the Beast if you're into creature features. I give it 3 evil emerald necklaces out of 4.
How did the snowman feel when he got the flu? Abominable.